He's playing an artistic gymnast, which doesn't exist in men's gymnastics whatsoever, working with the ribbon, but I love it. And then that attempt at a switch leap was quite entertaining. Hey JQ, I'm Dominique Dawes, and this is The Breakdown. First up, stick it. Come on. Yeah. Now, I wish that we could perform a balance beam routine to music. That is not very realistic. However, I could see that being the future of gymnastics, and then even going with hip hop music makes it even better. Did you see the look on the faces of the judges, even the coach, and even her teammates? They are caught off guard completely. Breakdancing on the balance beam, again, quite impressive, not something you normally see in the sport of gymnastics. However, I do believe breakdancing is supposed to be an Olympic sport in the future, and to kind of combine it with the sport of gymnastics makes the sport even more entertaining. Today, gymnasts are taking a more unorthodox approach to routines. You'll see a little bit more hip-hop music on the floor exercise, but that's usually in collegiate competitions. You'll never see that in an elite competition or at the Olympic Games, but however, gymnasts today may surprise us. Usually the decision with regards to a routine comes down to the head coach of that athlete as well as their choreographer. They'll determine what that athlete's strengths are and what will make them score the best. Yeah. Her double back off the beam, I will say that's not what the actress did, but that is a very real move. It's not a move that you're gonna see usually in an Olympic competition. It's something that many talented athletes will maybe learn at the age of 8 or 9, but that is a real dismount, but that actress definitely wasn't doing that. You know, a dismount is the finale, so you wanna make sure you end with something of good difficulty and with finesse, and of course with control. The important thing is to stick that landing, and so that control at the end is very important. However, if your routine is packed with a lot of difficulty throughout, you can end with a very easy, low difficulty dismount move because you really don't need it. The sport has changed, the scoring system has changed. The difficulty level back in the day was capped at a 10-0. That's why everyone was striving for that perfect 10. And while I could do performances that were worth a 10-2 or a 10-4, it made no sense to take that risk. Today, athletes can strive for that higher difficulty, and the risk is worth it because there would be a reward for it, which is why an athlete like Simone Biles is by far generations above her competitors today. It really is Simone versus herself. Let's fast forward.
If you like peeling pieces of skin the size of quarters off your hands, bars is for you.
Telling the truth about the sport of gymnastics. She's talking about the vault, she's talking about hands ripping on the bars where your pieces and chunks of your skin will rip off because of the friction of using the bars so much. That's why throughout my career, I used to have very rough hands full of calluses, and even my wrists were pretty ripped up and full of calluses as well. It's definitely the price you pay of being a gymnast.
Are you serious? I mean, who doesn't want to parade around in a leotard getting wedgies and doing dorky choreography?
She couldn't be more truthful. I love it. She's talking about wedgies and your leotards. Now, that will happen if you have a physique where when you're wearing a leotard, it'll go up your butt a little bit. And back in the day, I was told that they used to deduct us for wedgies. So many athletes, especially college athletes, used to take sticky spray and spray it on their bottoms and then make sure their leotard was stuck to the sticky spray so that they didn't get those very uncomfortable wedgies that she's talking about. Ice baths, that was never my favorite, and I don't know one athlete that actually enjoys taking an ice bath, but I remember throughout my career, because of ongoing tendonitis, I would always have to take ice baths, especially from my shins down, and that was actually more painful than the injury itself. That was my career. That was my career where I fell more than I actually stuck it or that I landed something, especially in practice. And it's interesting, many times the media would come in and they would shoot me in my training and they would be taken back by the number of times athletes just in general fall and how we fall. But we're taught how to fall. So even though you're seeing in these clips She's falling on her back, she's falling on her side, she's falling even on her face. It's something that we've prepared and been trained to do, so it actually doesn't hurt at all.
Got back up on the tramp and, things were different. Through a layout, through a full, and
I remember those days when, especially my Russian coach would work on my toe point. I have naturally flat feet, which means I don't have this beautiful, classical, very balletic looking toe point. However, again, that's the physical price you pay in the sport of gymnastics, where you're constantly stretching each and every inch of your body. The sport of gymnastics is comprised of 4 different events: vault, bars, beam, and floor. However, you do have these supplemental events that really help you prepare for those events, like tumble track or trampoline, things of that nature. And this athlete was really spending some time on the trampoline as well as training a little bit with her coach on the floor exercise. It's important, especially if you're an all-around athlete, that you are well-versed in all 4 of those events. If you're a specialist, you can just specialize in that 1 or maybe 2 events, and that's really how the sport has changed a little bit today. Next up, old school. He's playing an artistic gymnast, which doesn't exist in men's gymnastics whatsoever, working with the ribbon, but I love it. And then that attempt at a switch leap was quite entertaining. The difference between artistic and rhythmic gymnastics is artistic gymnastics for women is comprised of 4 different events: vault, bars, beam, and floor. Rhythmic gymnastics is more focused on artistry. They don't really do a lot of acrobatic moves. They'll maybe do a cartwheel or an aerial, or maybe a very basic back handspring, but they are strictly on the floor exercise, performing with a number of different, I would say, events, where it's like a ball or a ribbon or a hoop, or they have clubs and they throw them up in the air and they catch them. It's a beautiful, beautiful sport. It's more focused on artistry and you're very flexible, and men do not do rhythmic gymnastics. So an iron cross while smoking, Vince Vaughn, let's not do it, your lungs. But I'm loving this, and I love trick cameras. I love how it looks as if he's actually doing it. Pound for pound, I must say that male gymnasts are the strongest athletes out there. Females don't do it. We don't do the rings for a reason. It is impressive what they actually can do, and yeah, this is pretty awesome.
It's physically impossible. Don't worry, Abdul's here to spot you.
The role of the spotter is unlikely. Usually a spotter will be there for practice, but a spotter usually is not there probably 9 times out of 10 times during a competition. Your coach maybe will stand at the end of the vault runway or stand at the end of the balance beam, mainly just to kind of get you to stay focused, but they're not physically going to catch you doing anything. There is the old school vault, hence old school, it's hilarious. That's the kind of vault that I trained on back in the 80s as well as 90s, and even for my final Olympics in 2000. The vault today has changed. It's much safer, which is why athletes like Simone Biles can do a Yurchenko double pike. This vault was proven to be very unsafe. There were a lot of accidents on it. Well, the actor was definitely nervous before the vault, understandably so. I mean, there was Abdul at the other side spotting, and Abdul was not going to be able to do anything for him if he fell. I will say from my career, I had a lot of pre-performance nerves. It wasn't like butterflies in my stomach. It was almost like bats in my stomach. Sometimes it worked in my favor, and I was able to step up to the pressure. And many times, I actually choked under the pressure, and I overthought and overanalyzed everything and ended up falling. When I watched that clip of this actor on the vault, it made me think of my 2 world championships, where I was at the end of the vault runway, extremely nervous, overtaken with the pressure, and actually choked. And he stuck the landing. That is quite impressive. That was a front handspring double front. It actually is a real vault that a lot of male gymnasts will do. So it's an actual vault that he just did. He did bottom out the board though, which would pretty much break the board. So you wanna make sure you add more springs to it. But for this apparatus, you're going full force, full speed down the vault runway, which is what he did. That springboard helps get you to the vault. And more importantly, I wanted to point out, I love the team spirit. They're all standing along the vault runway and they're cheering them on. And you don't see that enough in the sport of gymnastics. So I think we can actually take a little bit of advice from old school and learn from this. Next up, Jurassic Park.
Kelly?
Kelly, no! So this actor or athlete did a nice little back hip circle, and it was, it's always a nice thing to see. It's actually not an easy move. Like, people think when they see some quick little move like that it's pretty basic, but it's something that actually takes some skill, believe it or not. You usually gain momentum on the bar by having very good body control. You have to be very tight, your core. That's why in the sport of gymnastics, when you start the sport, the focus is a lot on conditioning.
Hey, you!
Cast handstand, very hard to do. I will not be doing it at 44 years old, I will say that. Cast handstand, giant, and of course knocks over the dinosaur is quite entertaining, it was good. Up next, American Anthem. This is certainly the 80s, just not only the hairdos, of course, but even the leotard of choice, the very not so artistic and beautiful leotards. And then as you can see, she's wearing beam shoes, floor shoes, and that simple little knee brace that really did nothing. People would wear it and it really didn't help with very much. I think it was more of a psychological thing. Doesn't even seem like trick camera. It almost seems like this actress was the athlete during that punch front with a very old technique, mind you, to a double back. That was pretty impressive, especially back then. And it looks like this is a very well-received floor routine from the audience. This is fun to watch. With regards to flash photography being allowed, there was always an announcement before any competition and even during any competition that flash photography was prohibited because it was a distraction for the athletes. And I remember throughout my career, especially those big competitions like World Championships or the Olympic Games, if you actually look back at the footage, you'll just see flashes going on galore because people cared more about the quality of their photo than the safety of the athlete. So her falling on her second tumbling pass, not a good feeling. I've done that before, even at an Olympic Games. It's embarrassing, it's a horrible feeling. Definitely something that you learn to kind of push aside. And as a gymnast, especially an Olympic gymnast, you just have to stay focused on getting the job done and finishing strong. As you can see in this competition, other than the fact that she's running out of gas, which is not a good thing, and struggling to get through the rest of the routine, if you notice in the background, there's always different events going on at the same time. So as a gymnast, you have to really learn to get in the zone, stay focused, and not focus on the peripheral, because right now, the audience is cheering for someone on the bars. There was a person finishing up starting on the high bar, and someone going on the rings, and so you do have to learn to block out all those different distractions going on around you. There is a deduction for any steps that you take after a tumbling pass. Today, you are expected to stick your tumbling pass, and if you step out of it and do a lunge, you'll be deducted 1/10. Back then, I mean, this was probably from the 80s, that if you stepped back and you did a lunge, it was not a deduction whatsoever, as long as you showed control, and she did show control, so she would not have gotten a deduction for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Becky Cameron.
It is hard to watch this athlete finish the routine and be in such pain, and there's nothing that her coaches or her boyfriend or even her teammate, who seems to be very much in supportive of her, can really do. I don't know how many people remember the 1996 Olympic Games when my teammate Carrie Strug hurt her ankle, but this very much is a feeling of that exact same thing, where her coach came out, Bella Caroli, and picked her up at the end of her vault when she had injured her ankle. So it's actually, while this is a movie, for me it actually feels a little bit more like reality. It was tough to watch then, and it's tough to watch in a movie as well. Are judges sympathetic to an injury that happens during a routine? Absolutely not. They are going to focus on the elements that are being performed and any deductions or values that are going to be achieved. They are not too concerned about an injury. Next up, Bring It On. Now, I will say that I am very excited to watch a little clip from this movie, Bring It On, because prior to my 2000 Olympic Games, this was our movie of choice to kind of hype up the team.
I'm afraid we're going to need to make sure you can do a standing back tuck. Standard procedure. You understand.
Standing back handspring, back tuck, okay?
To see this athlete do that back handspring, back tuck, pretty impressive. Poor technique, but pretty impressive. Gymnastics is all about proper technique, and what I witnessed in that clip for the back handspring, back tuck did not have the proper gymnastics technique.
I transferred from Los Angeles. Your school has no gymnastics team. This is a last resort.
Love the attitude, love the sass. Many gymnasts that end up quitting the sport of gymnastics, they actually will go into cheer, because I'm not going to say it's an easier option, but it's a less intense option. The skills that are required in cheer are very much the basic skills that we learn in the sport of gymnastics.
Front handspring, step out, round off back handspring, step out, round off back handspring, full twisting layout.
While very basic, which is why the actress who was a former gymnast didn't even balk at it, I am impressed with cheerleaders on how they can tumble on a basketball court. Not good for shin splints, not good for your ankles or knees or any joint in your body, but I will say I'm pretty impressed that someone can do a back full on a basketball court. Not that I haven't done it, but I wouldn't want to do it often. And finally, the bronze.
Trained monkey could do gymnastics. Half of what we do out there is personality. Sit, watch, learn. When you hit this move, your face needs to be having as much fun as your body. This move is all about sass.
I don't know what to say. Number one, the 80s bangs. That's just wow. That's wow. And the ponytail and the scrunchie and the look and the voice. It's so 80s, 90s gymnastics, which was me and which was my teammates.
We're bouncing. I've never had this much fun bouncing. You think this is funny? This is some serious shit. The judges are scoring me through the roof right now. The camera's dry humping my every move.
She's speaking extremely honestly about the sport and just recognizing, as I always like to say, gymnasts are under a microscope and everything is being judged. And this character is really trying to hit home with that with this athlete.
Get out. Sell it to the bitch-ass judges.
You are trying to sell it to the judges because that's who you are striving to impress. Now, throughout my career, I always thought beyond just the judges. I thought about the fans in the stands, but you are thinking about that because you are trying to impress the judges. And so the look on your face on the floor exercise, either showing intensity or showing a little bit more excitement with a smile was very important. I remember back in the day, my coach used to have us put Vaseline on our teeth so that we could smile throughout our whole floor performance. All right, that's all the clips. Hope you learned a little something. Until next time.